So I have been getting a lot of requests to kind of go over how I handle more in-depth point of sale consulting projects. If you have a larger organization. And I've been getting a lot of these requests lately. So I thought I'd highlight the process that I use to do this. So I'm going to go through this as normal pretty quickly, but just talk a little bit about me, process overview, mapping, findings, wish list, and next steps. So why me? Of course, Ephesians 4:15, speaking the truth in love, is not just well, it is a biblical reference, but it's also something I use when I help organizations. And keep in mind, this presentation is for larger organizations. I have a much more streamlined process for smaller businesses and organizations who don't need paid consulting, they just need free and unbiased advice. But speaking the truth in love means I'm going to give honest advice. It's not meant to be mean to anyone or single anyone out. It's honest advice related to your organization or your business and your point of sale system. So why folks use me for this is uh, I've got kind of this unique combination of real world retail management, nonprofit management, ministry, and nonprofit management experience. On top of that, I spent about 15 years selling, implementing, and supporting over 20 different point of sale programs to over 3,800 businesses and organizations, mostly in the US. I'm still heavily involved in the industry, but it is unbiased industry involvement. And so what I found over the last couple of years is that I've had over 600 businesses and organizations look to me for helping them find the best point of sale solution for them. And it works out great. I mean, you're getting unbiased advice from an industry expert who's blessed with a very flexible but also very boring day job. So it works for all parties concerned. So one of the first things I do is we kind of outline the process when someone approaches me. And it's that initial conversation or that meet and greet. And then we review our objectives and confirm a schedule basically for when I'm going to be on site meeting with folks. And it's a very intense process. And I try to cover the entire organization from the sales clerk to the CEO and CFO, just meeting and talking, and that kind of carries over to the discovery phase where we have those conversations and discussions. And then actually I do a lot of just observing, in the actual stores, in the warehouse, in receiving, with the purchasing folks, with the finance folks, et cetera, et cetera. And then I provide a report on my findings, opportunities for improvement, potential cost, or a lot of times sanity savings. And then I make some recommendations. And generally it will be for two or more solutions and vendors that I know will be good solutions and that are trustworthy. And obviously the goal is to find something that generates a return on investment. And then I throw out some options too, depending on how much handholding an organization wants in regards to calculating a return on investment or budgeting for a point of sale system, using a weighted point spreadsheet to help find the best solution, creating a wish list for features and functions that you want in a point of sale system, helping with the solution or vendor review and selection, and of course even helping with the implementation. Another thing I do before coming on site is I map everything out. In this particular case, this is for an organization that had 38 locations at the time. And this also works good for me, so it's a checklist. So I'm going through, and when I'm on site and interviewing and having those conversations with folks and observing and documenting that I'm hitting everything that's important, from things that affect the whole organization, things that affect the stores, things that affect how product is moved between stores. If there's a warehouse involved, a headquarters, an e-commerce site, and obviously this is all customized according to your organization. But obviously I'm very analytical, but this is a nice visual, not only for you to see what I'm doing, but for me to cross-check and make sure I'm hitting all the key areas. And then when all is said and done, I report back with my findings and discoveries. And I prefer to do this while I am still on site, so there's no lag time waiting for information. Generally, what I have found is that if an organization or business has no point-of-sale system or an outdated or poorly functioning point-of-sale system, about 3 to 5% of their annual revenue is being lost or unrealized. And to put that in perspective, even if you're only doing $800,000 a year in annual gross sales, 4% of that is $32,000. So you don't have to be doing 10, 15, 100 million a year to have some pretty significant losses because you're not using a point of sale system or your system is outdated. And to give you an idea, I've worked with organizations, obviously a lot with just a single location, quite a few with 5 or 10 locations, and some as many as 300 locations. So it runs the whole spectrum. That 3 to 5% is kind of made up of these areas. It's not always true. It's something that I discover or find when I'm actually on site with an organization. But generally, you're going to see there are losses due to theft, due to manual processes that should be handled by a point-of-sale system, lack of real-time data, poor customer experience. Maybe there's delays or weird things happening in the checkout process or special orders, fulfillment. There's all sorts of different things that can be happening. And then we have the unrealized revenue, like not having a gift or loyalty program. And a lot of times folks are just using a point-of-sale system rather than one that should be working for them the way they want. They're working around the system or making do. So, and there's, the list can go on and on and on, and I'm not going to bore you anymore, but every organization or every business is different. But these are just some of the more common things that I uncover. And then I offer some next steps at that final presentation while I'm on site. Things like compiling a wish list of features and functions and, things that you require in a point-of-sale system. Helping create a weighted point decision spreadsheet to help choose the best solution and the best vendor. Making some vendor and solution recommendations, helping with the vendor and solution selection, and even helping with the implementation if you need someone to help roll things out to the various stores. So that's it. I hope you found that beneficial. I will put my contact information in the video description, and thanks for watching.